Hello, I'm Tina Barton and I'm joined by Theo Millar as part of our Whatbox Heritage newsroom today. Thank you for joining us, Theo.
No worries, thank you for having me.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I'm really excited to actually talk to you about this fantastic project. So the newsroom today is all about how we creatively engage young people within heritage. And you were lucky enough last year to receive some funding for a Kick the Dust project linked to a fascinating discovery of a really old printer, which I'm going to leave you to tell us a little bit about.
Yeah, so ran a project last year. So I used to work at Leicester Print Workshop and still involved there as a tutor and things now. But we had a phone call one day from Abbey Pumping Station Museum saying, oh, we've got this press. We don't really know what it is, but we need it gone. It's not part of our collection criteria. It needs to, we don't want it anymore, and it's kind of going to go. It's got to go. So Leicester Print Workshop initially said, no, we can't fit it in the studio. They've got another Colombian printing press, and they've also got a Britannia printing press in their education space. And there wasn't really room nor the need for another press there. But as a learning experience and an experience to kind of reach out and be an educational institution, we thought it'd be really interesting to run a project with it. So that's where I stepped in. I said, yes, please pick me. I'd love to be involved with this press. I'm really interested in the kind of heritage aspects of printmaking as an art form. So they're kind of always, each process within printmaking is always kind of tied back to heritage. And this was kind of a really great example of that. So the press is from about 1840s. And when I went to see it at the Abbey Pumping Station, it was kind of tucked behind fire engines and coal-fired ship vans and all of their amazing collection there in their large object store. And I kind of clambered over to see it when we first went to find it. And it was all in bits. So the main, what's called the staple. So the main bit was on one pallet, and then all the other bits were on another pallet. And I kind of thought it was all there, but didn't really know. So then kind of proceeded from there. That was kind of the first really exciting bit, really, just to kind of know that we were going to do it. Okay. And then it was kind of trying to find other people that would be interested or that could help me. So obviously Leicester Print Workshop were a massive partner. You guys at the Y Heritage were a huge partner as well. The printing charity also helped as well. So lots of amazing kind of organisations came together to make it possible. Mostly, obviously, Y Heritage. So yeah, it was trying to get people as excited as I was to be involved in the project.
You sound absolutely brilliant. One of the big things I'd like to ask you about is obviously as part of the project being supported by Y Heritage, one of the conditions of that funding was that you created a kind of opportunity, if you like, for a resident of the YMCA. Can you tell me a little bit about kind of what that was like working with a Y Heritage ambassador, what it meant for you to have somebody in, the project in general, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was lucky enough to have Jimmy with me for the whole project. And me and Jimmy got on really well. And we wanted to give an opportunity. Yeah, so alongside the restoration of the press, we also did some teaching about printmaking and about the press. So we did an arts award day. We did teaching for young people at the Y, and we did some schools as well, some local schools. And Jimmy was kind of involved in all of those aspects. So as well as just learning about the press, he was there to kind of be alongside me the whole time. And I really enjoyed it. I think it was great. And across the whole stage of the kind of funding process, so from the Dragon's Den to the training sessions, the project itself and project visits throughout, not just Jimmy as well, the other ambassadors, the other young people there are amazing. I remember the first time we kind of got together to do a walking tour with Graphwork in Leicester. and that was really exciting. So yeah, it was really great, and me and Jimmy still kind of keep in contact now and again, just say hello and see how each other are doing. So it was really good, and yeah, I mean, I'm really passionate about printmaking and really passionate about this, like presses and things. So I didn't know how it would go down with other people, but I think it was really exciting, just as exciting for those people as it was for me. So yeah, it's great.
So just building on, obviously there was lots of mutual benefits between your relationship and your experience of working with Jimmy.
Yeah.
Since actually taking part in that, have you actually changed the way you think about working with young people, or is it changed the way kind of Leicester Print works? Because I know you no longer work there anymore, and you were a project lead on this project. But has it actually changed your opinion about the gains and the benefits from actually involving almost like a younger person in that journey? You know, what are the benefits of that?
Yeah, I think it's always a challenging age group, I think, from funding kind of point of view, because you can kind of do young families, and that's kind of fairly well promoted within it, and then you've got the Heritage Open Day kind of side of things, which is a lot of a different side. So there tends to be this little limbo in the middle where young people are, and I think before doing the project, I suppose I kind of consider myself a young person. So maybe that made it easier to kind of relate. But I just think with Heritage, we're all young people compared to the objects we're working with. So it was kind of like a universal thing. I didn't really, it sounds really, but I didn't really notice it was young people. I was trying to get someone excited about what I was excited about. And it didn't matter if they were primary school, university, retired. It didn't really matter. For me, it was just about the project itself, and it was a great to have other people on board with it, and it happened to be young people that loved the project. So yeah, I think that's really the takeaway for me, that it's not really, you don't have to tailor something. And we were doing this when we did feedback sessions. I don't think you really need to tailor something. If it's good enough for it's good enough for young people. It doesn't need to be cool, or, you know what I mean? It doesn't need to be kind of something horrible like printing baseball caps or whatever. It doesn't need to be that. It can just be what it is.
Yeah, and the ability to take them on that journey and engage them in an interesting way. Yeah. It's clear to me, I can feel the passion from the way you're talking about the project. We have been lucky enough to be sent a link to a film. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so a huge part of the project was working with a filmmaker called Bill Newsinger, a photographer and filmmaker called Bill Newsinger from Leicester, who I love dearly. I think he's amazing. And he worked with us throughout every stage of the project. So he was there when we collected the press, and he was there every time we did anything with the press. Bill was there with his camera filming, and it resulted in a kind of film about 11 minutes long, which was about the kind of whole thing. And there's a little educational film as well, which should be available. I think you should be able to see that, which what we did, the educational side of things. And that's the kind of the lasting kind of document of the project, really, to have, so that people can share it. And because cast iron presses aren't the most mobile things, but films are. So yeah, do share it. And if you ever got any questions, just kind of ask me. Yeah, it's called The New Custodian, and the name itself, obviously, custodians of objects. And from a museum's point of view, that's what all museums are trying to do. It's trying to look after these objects for the next people to do it. And I'm currently the custodian of this object, and someone I'm sure will be the custodian after me.
Well, listen, Theo, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today.
Thanks very much,
we'll be sure to play the film and share that across various platforms. And if anybody actually wants to go and see this beauty, it's located at Leicester Print Works.
Yeah, so there's a Colombian press at the Leicester Print Workshop, so you can see a press similar to the one. I was lucky enough to have the press for myself after the project because they couldn't have it. So the press is now with me printing, making contemporary artwork. But if anyone wants to see it, I'm sure after all this malarkey is over, we can organise something.
That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, Theo. Keep up the good work, and
have a good day.
Keep unearthing and preserving more fabulous things for us. Thanks very much.
Cheers.